I learned early on that I cannot take life too seriously. I can't. If I did, I would have been went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs several times over. The way life has a way of throwing curveballs, or if any of you all go to the gym, you know how they have those balls. It's like usually the color is black and it has 15-pound ball, the 10-pound ball, the 20-pound ball, and you can throw it, whatever it is to help you build your muscles. Well, let's just say sometimes life has a way of throwing those type of balls at me in particular, or technically at all of us. Not going to single myself out because that's just how life works. It's not all going to be peachy all the time. Sometimes it's going to feel like it's roses and the thorns that grow on the stem of the roses as well. And currently, as a divorced single mom raising two boys, juggling life, working, and of course, you got to add some fun in there, a sprinkle of chaos, and a sprinkle of random things that just happens because it's life. Let me tell y'all, if I did not learn at an early age how not to take life seriously, it would be a struggle. I'd be walking around mad all the time between grief and having to rely on my support system, which I'm so grateful for. Oh, honey, the math, it's not mathing, okay? The math ain't mathing. But here's the thing, anger is easy, being frustrated is easy, being sad is easy. It's a default setting, but is it helping us? I don't think so. It's really not. Welcome to Girl, Come Sit With Me. This is your safe space for untold stories, personal growth, and embracing the journey of life. With a background in psychology and a passion for healing, I explore topics like divorce, grief, motherhood, and personal transformation, sharing my experiences and poems along the way. So, thanks for joining the Dom Show. But do know this isn't just a podcast. It's a vibrant community where women come together to support, inspire, and uplift each other. Here, we're creating a nurturing environment for sharing, connecting, and empowering one another. So expect to get real and raw. We're going to learn some things, heal from some things, and laugh about a whole lot of things. So come sit with us, girl. Let's embark on this journey of self discovery, healing, and growth together. In our shared space, every voice is valued, and together, we're stronger. So today we're just going to focus on how not to take life too serious. It's literally an art when it comes to not taking life too seriously. And this art is going to help us with surviving the day to day and being able to get to a point where we are 110 years old, we're reflecting on our life, and we're looking back like, oh, snap, you know what? I'm glad I made sure I enjoyed those moments. I'm glad I made sure I was present in those moments. Now, a while back, I had this moment where I realized that if I don't laugh, I'm going to cry. Or worse, I will explode. Like the time my kids tried to help clean and ended up flooding the bathroom. Yeah, it happens. I could have screamed, but instead, I just sat there laughing because, I mean, what else could I do? Like, things happen. It's already done. Like, the floor is already soaked. The floor is lava. The floor is already soaked, and it's okay. We are just going to mop this up together, or better yet, y'all can watch mommy mop this up. Thank you so much for trying to help me with the cleaning. You did a wonderful job, but next time we have to do it with less water. So for me, humor isn't just about the funny moments. It's kind of like it's about survival. So humor isn't just about the funny moments, it's about survival. It's about saying, yeah, life is messy, but I'm not letting it steal my joy. I'm not letting someone else project how they're feeling, someone who's projecting how they're feeling onto me, steal my joy. We're not doing that. I'm allergic. I'm not. Nope, not today. That's why today I'm definitely diving into how laughing at yourself, even in those tough times, can help heal us. Now, for me, I already shared with you all that disassociating is one of my coping mechanisms. But another one of my coping mechanisms is laughter. For me, laughter is a form of self care because that's what helps me navigate through grief, and not just grief when it comes to someone passing away, but also just grief with life changes or dealing with any type of loss that was unexpected or was expected. Now, don't get me wrong, I do have a very, very, very dark sense of humor. So I try not to necessarily share all of my humor with all of my jokes that are in my mind out loud, because that's just how I cope. And the darker the joke, the better it is for me. I'm also the type of person where, okay, matter of fact, I'll give y'all an example. So I did natural births, non medicated, wasn't at a hospital for either one of my births. We can get into all that cool stuff later on. But I'm the type of person where if I feel too much pain, I start to laugh at myself. That is my natural reaction. So it'll go from intense feelings. I was in labor the first time and I would just zone out a little bit. Remember, disassociating. We discussed this. And I would zone out during my contractions. And then when I came to, every time I came back and realized that I was still in labor and this is really happening and a baby is really about to be pushed out of my body and I have to do the work for it to happen. Oh my goodness, y'all. Every time I just started laughing. So imagine watching someone in a daze. They're in a daze for minutes upon minutes upon minutes. And the next thing you know, they're laughing. Now, my support system, they understand how I am. But for people who have never seen that, or for people who aren't as close to me, they would have been looking at me like I was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. What is so funny? She was just over there zoned out, tears coming from her eyes because the pain was so intense. I don't like to say pain. I like to say the feelings was rather intense. And y'all, I just was like, every time I just start laughing, like, how did I get into this predicament? Oh, okay, I do remember that night. That was a fun night. All right, okay, it's worth it. And then I zone back out. Then I come back to, next thing you know, I'm laughing again. And I'm just like, wow, why did I volunteer to get pregnant? Why did I always want to push a baby out of my vagina? What is. So now I'm laughing again. And my thoughts just keep going and going. And I'm just laughing at myself, like, ha, and you crazy enough to do this again, aren't you? And in my mind, I was like, yep, I definitely want to do this again, minus all of this intensity. So for me, humor is what helps me survive. And now that I'm in this stage of divorce, single motherhood, it definitely helps me survive. And it also helps me find a way to connect to my oldest son when he's having those difficult moments of, oh, I miss my dad, things like that. He and I will sit there, we'll have our serious conversations, but usually we're going to end it with some type of laughter. Whether he does it, I do it, whatever the case may be. And I love that because I'm realizing that that has now become one thing that has added to our bond in such a beautiful and impactful way. Laughter is something that has bonded us in a very beautiful and remarkable way. I see that my 8-year old feels comfortable enough to talk to me about any and everything. And he knows that I'm going to explain it, or he'll ask me questions. He knows I don't mind answering the questions. I'm going to explain it. It's going to be a joy, and it's going to be an enjoyable conversation, no matter how awkward it is, no matter what the topic is. If it's something that's heavy, if it's something that's light, he knows that he's going to walk away feeling better. And if he doesn't feel better when he walks away, he at least understands that mommy is going to make an effort to understand how you're feeling and make an effort to help you process how you're feeling. So I love how humor has found its way into all aspects of my life and different bonds, because I grew up in a humorous house, okay? So my granny was a very lighthearted, kind woman, didn't play no mess, didn't take no mess, none of that. But never a drinker, never a smoker, none of that. Just always stay rooted in optimism and positivity and prayer. And I always thought that that was such a beautiful thing to witness, because I also saw it in my mom. But my mom was a different generation than my granny, so my mom could cut up if she chose to, but she still, no matter what, always remained rooted in optimism and positivity as well. And with all of that meant that we're gonna laugh like nobody's business, okay? It doesn't matter what's going on. I have family members in the funeral home industry, and so we're going to laugh. It's been times where we would all attend a service, a funeral service for a family member, and we may be laughing because why did such and such fall out like that? Why? Why? Did you see it? Did you see it? She knows she wasn't there for them at all. Is that a guilt fallout? Nah, she always wanted attention. We would almost bet like, we already know that one right there. They gonna put on a show. We gonna see how this go. And guess what? What they do? Put on a show. I told y'all the humor is dark. Okay, we're not. We listen. We don't judge. So there's definitely going to be moments. Ooh, y'all, I remember one time I was a little girl. I was in, was this elementary or middle? One of the two. I was supposed to recite this poem by Maya Angelou. And y'all, I knew this poem like the back of my hand. I got in front of all these people at River Run Park. Oh my goodness. On stage, I might add. Got up there and froze. Mind y'all, I was the same little girl who would be dancing at all the family events with her cousins, because we just used to like putting on a show. And yeah, no, that did not happen when I hit that stage, okay? To recite this poem. Nope, not at all. Y'all, when I tell y'all I froze, I just stood there blinking, just blinking. I was like, oh my goodness. So then finally I was like, this is not working. So I remember I ran off stage, wasn't crying because I was still in a state of shock. Okay. So I ran off stage. My mom gave me the paper with the words, and I went back up. My mom asked if I could go back up. They let me go back up, and I recited the poem with by reading it through the paper. And even though I knew all the words, y'all, I still was just reading directly from the paper. Would look up every now and then and look right back down at that paper. Now you would think that would be a traumatizing moment for a little girl, but in my household, y'all, we laugh. We laugh like nobody business. Cause I was just like, ain't no way this just happened to me. What? No, no, not I, said the grasshopper. So humor has definitely saved the day throughout my life, and I'm definitely appreciative of it. I'm so appreciative for the gift of laughter, okay? Now, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the easiest emotion to express, because there's times where things are going to happen and the first question may be, why me? Why me? Or why this person? Or why is this happening? Right? And in those moments of uncertainty, it's easy to feel anger. Now, I am an Aries, but I feel as though everyone can relate to this when I say anger is like cheap fast food. It's like going to your favorite restaurant. It's like anger is cheap fast food. It's quick, it's satisfying in the moment, but it leaves you feeling empty. Now, granted, there are those moments where anger makes you feel better, because I'm not going to hold y'all. Sometimes when I express my anger, I'm like, ooh, I feel so great. But guess what? After I feel great, then that emptiness starts to creep in because I may still be a little more angrier. And I'd rather choose something more nourishing to me spiritually, mentally, emotionally, like laughing at how ridiculous life can be. I'd rather do that than be in a constant state of rage. Because I realize that when I get angry, I have to take a moment. I'm a very patient person, so it takes a lot to make me angry. But when I finally get angry, I have to sit back and do some self reflection and really dive into where is this anger stemming from? Is this anger stemming from my sadness? Is it stemming from my frustration? Is it stemming from me putting expectations on people? Is it stemming from things that are in my control or things that are not in my control? Like one moment in my life where I remember being angry and it took a while for me to really dive into it was when my dad died. So my dad passed away from a tragic accident. And it was so tragic to where there weren't really remains to see. And when I tell you the amount of anger that I felt for so long was immeasurable. I mean, in my mind, it was like, okay, my dad was in and out of prison when I was a little girl. Then he went in and he was in for almost 15 years. What was it? 13, 14, 15 years, around that amount. And then not too long after that, he passes away. And he was in the best shape of his life. Well, he was always in shape. He was particular when it came to that. But he was in the best shape of his life. He was healthy. He was in a good state of mind, things like that. And I was talking to him every day. And then just like that, I couldn't reach him one day and I realized something was wrong. And then we realized what happened. Now, the anger that consumed me ended up being pushed upon everyone, everything. So what did I do? I went into my shell. I also disassociated for about 3 months. But I went into my shell because everything felt like it was someone just repeatedly stabbing me in a random place that I didn't even realize I could feel pain at. So, in going through all of that, and I'll probably do an episode on it because y'all, that time could be like a full-fledged movie. Even from his wife at the time repeatedly calling the funeral home to cancel the plans that I had arranged that I was paying for, but hey, whatever. To me having to recall them and say, "Wait, what? How is something off?" When y'all, it was a whole thing. Okay, it was a whole thing. But the anger, that's what I want to focus on because I just could not move past the anger. And that anger caused me to disassociate for 3 months. And when I tell y'all I fully disassociated, I don't remember anything for 3 months and a week. So during that time, my friends are like, hey, we took you here. They're showing me pictures. I don't remember a thing. One of my friends was like, yeah, we partied on a boat. We jumped off the boat. We were swimming in the ocean. I don't recall a thing. I believe them. And they've also shown me pictures, videos. And you can see in the videos, if you look deep in my eyes, you're like, oh, she's not there. She's just going through the motions. And that's exactly what it was. And I remember when I finally clicked out of it, I told myself I would never allow myself to be in that stage or that bit of a rage for that long, especially over things that I could not control. My dad was out of state. I had no control over that. Technically, he had no control over it, right? So that time period where I look back and I have no memories from that time period because I didn't put no type of memory cues to help my mind go back to remember it or anything. And reflecting on it, it really made me shift my mindset. I always thought I was resilient. Well, I always knew I was resilient. I always knew that I was, quote unquote, a happy person, right? But it was during that time where I just could not choose to be happy. I could not. It was like I don't even know if I was trying, quite frankly, now that I think about it. But I'm glad that no matter what curveballs life has sent me since then, I have not allowed myself to get to that place, to get to such a dark place. It was almost as if that in that moment, I decided, okay, I can't take life too seriously. Am I going to go after my goals, focus on being successful, focus on leaving my children something that they can have later on? Absolutely. But you know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to overstress. And that is something that is not the easiest thing to do, but that is my goal. My goal is to try not to stress as much because as a single mom, I have to be here as long as possible for my kids to the best of my capabilities. And part of that is I don't want to be like these young people that I hear about in their 20s, in their 30s, in their 40s, having heart attacks. And then when you talk to their loved ones, they're like, yeah, they have been stressed lately. They've been extremely stressed lately. So this holiday season, I've really been trying to embrace just letting things roll off of me. Now, this is not the easiest thing in the world, especially when you have those moments. We all have those moments where we have to deal with things we don't want to deal with. It's as if we have to understand the importance of not letting others' energy or drama affect us. Because let's be real, it's fake people out there. It's people who just thrive off of negativity, or it's people who feel better when they put people down or when they talk down to other people. And I know if you're listening to this podcast, that means that you're not one of those people, okay? Because we thrive off of optimism over here. But in dealing with those type of people, whether it's in your job, maybe it's family members, maybe it's friends who you are phasing out of your life, who you're learning to let them go, or certain people in general who you're phasing out the amount of time that you allot to them. So I'm learning not to let fake people aggravate me, or not to let them get under my skin. And I realize it's easier for fake people to get under my skin if it's someone that I have placed expectations on, or if it is someone where I expect more from them and they're living below the means of my expectations. Understand that that's when I get my feelings hurt, y'all. And that is when I really get annoyed or aggravated and, quite frankly, irritated. But when it comes to fake people, you know what? They don't bother me. I'm getting to a place where fake people don't bother me because that's their problem. I'm cool with staying in my lane, vibing in my peace, and letting them tire themselves out. Go ahead, tire yourself out. Keep pretending to be something that you're not. Keep telling yourself whatever you need to tell yourself to make you feel better, because your opinion of me is none of my business. You want to know what is my business? My opinion of me. My children's opinions of me. That's what's my business. That's what's going to make life easier and less stressful on me when I'm not letting them bother me. Life is easier when you don't compare yourself with anyone but yourself. I'm in competition with me. I know some of you all have seen the speeches where people are like, hey, I would like to thank me. Yup, that's me all day. I would like to thank myself. I'm in my own lane, minding my own business, sipping my own water, drinking water and minding my business and thriving. That is my thing. And I'm cool with that. It's helped me stay grounded. It's helped me stay focused. And it helps me stay in a place where I understand myself more. And in understanding myself more, I'm able to give myself more grace. I'm able to look in the mirror and not just point out the flaws that I see, because the world is going to do that regardless. I don't know if y'all been on social media, but social media has a way of pointing out your flaws or trying to market to you things that you want to change about yourself. It's going to tell you all the ways of how you are not what society is expected to be. The way I have been feeling this week, it feels as though my life is for me. Obviously, I'm a mother. That means it's for my kids as well. But life is too short for me to be arguing with folks who aren't even in my lane, to be arguing with folks who are playing a different game than what I'm playing. If you're on the sidelines criticizing, stay there. I'm over here playing my own championship and I'm playing against myself, which means I'm going to win regardless. I'm going to win regardless. And in doing that, it helps me embrace authenticity because it's that authenticity and because it's that authenticity that's going to help keep my life light and enjoyable through the most difficult time. So my reminder to you this episode is to keep your life light. It's going to be heavy regardless. So just try to keep it as light as possible. You give your life the substance, not anyone else. You do. So find some humor, find some joy, and whatever's not serving you, let it go. And that's what I'm telling myself. If it's not serving me, let it go. I'm letting go anything that does not serve my greater good. Period. So on that note, girl, thank you for sitting with me, okay? I want you to have a beautiful week. This week, I want you to focus on letting things go that is beyond your control and on finding a way to laugh in the midst of your pain or in the midst of those down moments. I want you to find some type of light or humor in those moments where we're wondering, why is this happening to me? Okay, because you are not alone and we in this together, girl. So have a beautiful week.